Hey, welcome back. We're building a RANS S21. This is the fourth episode of doing my engine cowling. It's fourth and final. In this episode, I finish up with the cowling. I also put the oil door in. I decided to go with the upgraded hinge and latch. I saw some other builders do that and it seemed to make sense. It added about 7 hours to my build time. 5 of those was to fix some sloppy workmanship, but I'll get into that. So it really only added about 2 hours to cut the custom frame and the custom door that is necessary to put the latch in. So with that, let's jump in and finish up the cowling.
What I'll do is I'll take this cowl off. Where I've got the tape is where I've got to put these snap rings. But you got to take these out carefully so you don't lose that retainer ring and the rubber gasket. And once you drop them on the floor with this mess, you can't find them. So I've already lost 2. I'm hoping there's a couple extras in there. Okay, I'm going to point out a mistake, and maybe if a future builder's watching this, they can learn from it. When I drilled this hole, they're supposed to be 1/2 inch out from the edge of the boot cowl. The cowling's on when you measure them, so you don't really see where this edge is. You gotta be no more than 1/2 inch from the edge of this boot cowl. So I drilled a new hole just a little bit off from this one, which I'll use for this cowling secure. And this I'll leave, but the number 11 hole in the cowling, I'll have to fill in with some Bondo or something, but that's just too close to the edge. Save your 260s here. You've got both layers of the cowling and the flange, so that's where you use your 260s. The rest of these were 200s, a couple 180s up top, but mostly your shorter ones. This, you're going to have the 2 layers of cowling, so that's going to be thicker than the cowling and the flange. So what I've done is I've got it all secured all the way around, and I'm drilling out to the 1/4 on this layer. I'll take the top off, and then I'll drill down the next layer to the 5/16, and then put the turnbuckles in all the way around. And remember, these last 2, these are screws, panhead screws, so you don't do these. These should already have your nut plates in them. So this is the process I use to install these turnbuckles. The first thing I do is, remember, I've already drilled with both the upper and lower together to the 1/4, so the outside is 1/4. Then I take the upper cowl off and I drill this out to the 5/16. Then I take a turnbuckle receptacle and I place it directly over, and I spend a little bit of time up, down, left, right. I'm making sure that that's perfectly centered over the hole. Once I've got it perfectly centered, I mark it with a small bit. Upsize the hole. Cleek on the outside. Again, I don't care about being level. What I care about is getting this hole completely centered over the other hole, over the hole, so the receptacle will receive. Clean it up. So the rivet sits a little bit lower. and then I double check, and it is perfectly centered, and we're riveted in. Oh wow! Okay, it's almost done. I've got all the turnbuckles in. A couple little things to do. As I mentioned before, I've got two places where the hole was too close to the edge of the flange. I had to re-drill it, so I got to fill that in with some Bondo or something. I've got the cow cam to install. Remember, I'm going to put a cow cam in the front. I've got the cow cam wire from the G3 hanging here inside the firewall, so I just got to install it, run it, plug it in. And then I've got the oil door. And I'm going to do an upgraded oil door. I've seen a couple builders giving me some ideas of how to do the upgraded oil door. And I took away those 3/8 inch spacers, and my spacing looks good. I'm a little bit high here compared to the other builders, but remember, I've got that bracket back here that I did not refabricate. I might regret having that little bit of drag there, but it is what it is, and I'm going to live with it. It's not perfect. The seams are good, but not great, but I'm not a perfect builder. And I'm happy with where I got with it, and we'll move forward and finish up the last couple items. The oil door installation starts with a parts and diagram, and then there's like about 2 lines of text. You've got an oil door, oil frame. This is the hinge that is included with the kit. Many of the builders have gone on and put a hard cell hinge in. This is a spring hinge, much beefier. And then rather than using the quarter turn locks that we've used on the Cowling, a lot have gone with the latch, which is what I'm going to head towards. So these are the instructions that came with the hinge, and some more diagram here, and we'll start the process. In the first step of getting the door outlined on the Cowling, the marks, the template that they give you, at least mine did not print out to the proper scale. It's 5 5/8, not 5 7/8. So rather than playing with my printer at 1.10% or 7%, I decided to just free draw the square out. Then I squared these off, measured it up, made sure I was the 5 7/8 all the way across. And I measured it slightly smaller, just slightly smaller than the 74.6 millimeters, just so I can finish it by sanding and get it to the exact door. The door they gave me, it's buried under here. The door is 5 7/8, so it's going to fit inside. So with this, I think I'm all set to do my first cut. I cut the hole using my Dremel with a cutoff, and then the sander to get it perfectly fit, and now my door fits right in there perfectly. The next thing I did is I pinned in this frame so that I can't really do it with the brackets. So when this door is placed, these holes are perfectly lined up with these holes here, and the door fits perfectly in here. Now, with the different clip I'm going to use, this latch, I'm going to have to create another plate that's identical to this one, but without any holes in it. It looks like I'm going to need to make a new frame. The way they want this on here is that the hinge is 11/16 of an inch from the edge, which puts the hinge right about here, which I've got no support back here on the frame plate. So I'm going to have to make a new frame that is up here, and so I can attach this to it. I've got a piece of 6061 040 in thickness, which is what these are, and it looks like the door is going to trace out there. This will trace out there, so I got plenty to make these two parts. Because I had already drilled the holes in the Cowling, I've got a match drill from the old frame onto my new frame. You can see my new frame's got this extra lip up top where the hinge is going to go. So I'm just going to match drill the holes, and that should fit right into my Cowling with the new extended lip. Okay, all my holes lined up for the new frame. And my new door fits in to the frame pretty well. I'm going to trim just a little, sand buff that a little bit. I've been kind of tapping the edge down and rolling the edge down because it's got a little bit of curve here. I also think my cowling's sitting a little flat, that when I put it on the plane, it may pull in. So I'm actually going to install the cowling before I go any further and make sure that this bend matches up with the curve here. Maybe just a little bit more tweaking. I've been massaging this cover kind of to get it to fit to this angle. Putting it on the plane definitely made a difference. I used a PVC pipe to kind of roll it, and then I kind of have a technique where I saw where you're taking out dinks. I kind of tap the edges down like that to get the edges to come down, because these edges have a little curl to them. I'm, again, not telling you how to do it. You probably all have better technique than I do, but I got it to fit pretty well. I got to do a little more trimming on the cowling. It's a little bit tight here, and I'll trim up and then I'll put the hinges on. The way I understand this diagram is the curved part of the hinge needs to come up just outside. That's the flange underneath the cowling. So there's my curved part of the hinge. So the way I did this is I set this on top so that those rivets would come up right underneath the flange part, and then measured off and drilled the first hole there. And then I'll take this bracket off and drill the other 4. Okay, I've got the holes drilled and the hinge clecoed. Looks like it's going to work. I'm going to attach the hinge now and then cleco it underneath and see if we've got the correct movement. I've got the hinge clecoed to the underside. That's where it'll be sitting with the door. Looks like I've got good range of motion to open up and close, so I think that's correct. The one thing I did notice is that these 2 holes that I transfer drilled from the original frame aren't necessary, because these 4 hinge rivets are going to secure the frame. So I'll probably just Bondo fill those in. I've already got 1 or 2 Bondo places from mistakes, but if you're transfer drilling from the prior frame, you don't need those holes. The next thing is to mount the door to the arm, and that's the part that I gotta be real careful with, because it's got to mount exactly where it's flush.
Well, hi Derek. Hi Tony. I guess it's kind of a tradition now to have you 2 builders have the talking oil door. So we'll see you guys in the sky soon.
The concept of this latch is this tail here goes underneath the door frame, not under the cowling, but under the door frame. A word of advice, put your spring in before you rivet your hinge. I've got my hinge riveted, but the curve of the cowling makes it really hard to get this pin out without bending it and then getting it back in with the spring. It's a pain in the neck. So put your spring in first, then rivet your hinge. Okay, I'm not happy with the installation, but it's done. You have the attachment, it's got the spring on it, which is nice. I love this attachment. You do need 2 hands to kind of reset. Now I got it with 1. I just don't like the way it fits. I've got a bulge here. I can't get, no matter what I do, I can't get it down. And then I work this piece of aluminum and I kind of destroy it. So I'm going to come back and redo this door at another time. I'm tired with the cowling right now. I'm going to move on, but I'm just not happy with the final fit. But my workmanship on getting this formed fit correctly is just miserable. So hey, that's why it's a first-time builder, and you get to learn and redo things. I just spent about 5 hours redoing the oil door with the new pieces of material. I found out what the problem with the other one is this hinge, whoops, where is it? This hinge, when it was in, without the plate on it, was in the closed position, was at an angle, so the butt was sticking up. So where the rivets were here, the plate was kind of going up. So when it laid flat, this end was sticking up. I spent time trying to bend this end down, which then forced this side to come up. And then when I bent this side down, this end came up. It just ended up being a mess, and I actually kind of destroyed the piece of material. So when I realized that it was this angle right here on this hinge, and I bent the hinge a little. Now it sits really flat and flush all the way around. So I'm glad I spent the time to redo it. I'm happy with it, and I'm going to move on.
Okay, that wraps the cowling. That section took 23.9 hours, including the 5 additional for that corrected door. And that brings the project to date to 1407.4 hours, 1400 hours. I'm guessing I've got 300 more hours, 400 more hours. So that's going to put me around 1800 hours for build time. That's just my guess. And that's actually build time. That is not research time. That's not sitting on the computer figuring out what I'm going to do. That's not reading through manuals. That's build time. So I am considerably over. RANS's marketing material says 500 hours. I'm probably going to be 4 times that when I'm finished. But I'm not a fast builder. I'll acknowledge I'm not a fast builder. And I am a first-time builder, so that's probably adding a little extra time. But I give you the time just to let you know where I'm at. But thank you very much for watching. And remember, dream it, just build it.